Hey everybody, we are back with another review, and today we got another 3D printing EDC video. So without further ado, let's hop right into this review. Today's video is sponsored by Polymaker. So all the filament today was sent over graciously by them for me to make some really cool models. So I'll show you the filaments first that they sent over and that I used in this video, and then we'll kind of go through the models that I ended up using. Really cool stuff today. I'm really super excited, and thank you so much again, Polymaker, for sending this over. First one, you can see the one I had probably the most fun with is this matte cappuccino. This is the Panchroma series gradient PLA, which is really nice. It's almost like a marble type of PLA, the way that it prints, and I'll kind of show you that. When I saw it, I was like, that'd be really good for printing like stone replica type stuff. And I don't want to give anything away of what I printed, but you can see here we got, just around 300 grams of filament left. So we got 700 grams of stuff that we printed with that. I got one of my favorite neon ones that I've ever picked up is this neon magenta. This thing is sick. Love this. I've got a magenta in the CYM bundles before, but this one, you're going to see, this one is probably the most neon. So another Panchroma series filament. We'll get to that one. Go to that one in a second. Next one we got is this Loyal Moses Sparkle Green. Pretty cool the way this came out, and I can't wait to show you what I printed with this. And we got just about 300 grams of this left as well, and this was a full kilo, so that's really awesome as well. We got this camouflage, which of course my EDC stuff. I love printing boxes and things to stash out in the wild or like as a cache. So I don't want to give too much away, but this is really nice for that. And we're going to show you something a little bit larger print today, a couple larger prints with this. As you can see, we got just around 300 grams left on this spool as well. This is a little bit higher, but yeah, it's about 300 grams, I'd say, on that. Camouflage. Oh, there we go. Pretty cool, right? So just about 300 grams on that. Now, here is one of this one stole the show today, and I'm very excited. That's why you see this ArcFeld Pro over here. This is my UV flashlight because we got some really cool stuff today to show you. This is a UV shift, this is the natural color. It almost looks like a translucent white, I guess you could say, or clear. And when it gets hit with UV, it starts fading to this nice orange color, and I can't wait to show you what we did with that. I did some really nice stuff with that. I'm smiling, super smiling, because this was probably one of the funnest filaments I've been able to print with thus far. And again, another Panchroma series filament, and this UV shift is awesome. I haven't seen many UV shift videos or anyone talking really about UV shift, but we're going to show you today some shiftage, if you know what I mean. Now, I also got some classic Polymaker filaments that I did have come in to do some pitch hitting today for some of the prints. Obviously, you can see I didn't print a lot with these. These I just peeled off a little bit, but we got the Castle Grayskull green over here, and then we have the Fall Gradient yellow to red, which two of some of my favorite filaments. Again, I love the gradient stuff, and I love that stone type of feel filaments. So those are probably some of my favorites, but I do have some models today that have some of these features as well. These were not sent over, but are some of my favorites, that's for sure. So we'll put that over there for now so it's out of the way. And like I said, we got our UV flashlight because we're going to show you some cool stuff. Now, first one I do want to start off with is the matte cappuccino, which is going to be like I said, it's going to be a brown all the way up to this gradient, almost gray. It's going to go with like tan in the middle. And I'm going to show you what that looks like stretched out over a model. But this is just a little calibration cube to kind of give you a taste of a sampling of what it's going to look like. Now, first thing I did was I printed out a planter. Again, I did print out EDC stuff, but I also printed out some larger, like functional prints, if that makes sense, that is kind of more in line with what this filament is kind of made for. And as you can see here, I mean, this looks beautiful in regards to like mimicking a rock, looking like a natural formation. I mean, this alone without a plant in it looks beautiful. So you could put a plant in here and it would look even more natural having that actual natural plant in the planter itself. So printed awesome, as you can see. I didn't have any issues except for some of the stuff on the figure that I printed with the supports. I lost a couple pieces like the antenna, but I'll show you that in a little bit when we get to that portion. But you can see the gradient transition is awesome. It's not an abrupt shift, which is what I liked about this. And speaking of that, let me show you the last thing that's not EDC related that I printed with this. It's a Knights piece from Chess that I blew up and printed on the A1. My P1Ss were taken up with using the AMSs, but I needed to throw this on the A1 so I can get that max build volume. And as you can see, this thing printed awesome. I put supports here for the front to carriage that little nose area. But yeah, I mean, this turned out awesome. I mean, you could put this in your garden. Like, this turned out amazing. It actually looks like something that's stone. And I picked this particular one. I didn't do fuzzy skin because it looks like stone. It looks like a hand carved, stone little knight. So pretty cool on that. Now, let me show you some of the EDC stuff, which turned out awesome. Now, these are some Janberry design containers. Go check her out at Maker's World. This right here I did use something that wasn't Polymaker on here for the gaskets. I did print with some black TPU, but as you can see here, I mean, this looks awesome. The gradient on this, it's got a really nice look on the inside as well. And you can see that it looks like a really nice EDC container with that gradient. If it was something that was bright, maybe it wouldn't be as EDC, it would be more of a general container, but I do love that natural stone look on this. And it's got that, you can kind of hear from when I screw this on, it kind of has that stone type of composite filament sound to it when you unscrew this. So I keep on screwing that for you to kind of let you hear that stone composite. It's not more like a plasticky type of noise. It's got more of almost like a stone composite feel to it. Now, we did 2 of them here, different gradients. I wanted to make sure that we got not 2 that are identical, so if they printed next to each other, it would be like basically identical. But I printed these on separate build plates, and I did some little ones as well. And all these do have TPU gaskets here. I printed those. They had a separate print profile for the gaskets, so I just slid on some TPU on my A1 Mini. I have a dedicated A1 Mini that does all my weird filaments that I don't have AMS, that I won't go into AMS essentially. So basically all my TPUs, so it's really nice. And some of my harder stuff like my woods and my glow in the darks, I'll run through that machine just so I'm not like doing that wear and tear on all my AMSs and stuff. So nice to have that ability to be able to print TPU basically on demand. Now that is a lot of the containers with the marble gradient. We're going to move on to some containers that I printed with not marble gradient, but a different kind of gradient. So I said I had that fall gradient. This is the Polymaker, that fall gradient. As you can see here, I did gray TPU here for these gaskets. I thought the gray looked really nice with that fall theme. And this is a simple like match container. Again, it's sealed here with the gaskets. And you could put anything in here. You could put your MEG, your military energy gum in here. You can put little pills for you to take with you. This is going to be something that's going to have a really nice look if you're looking through a bag. This gradient PLA right here definitely catches your eye for sure. I did print these next to each other, which is why they're basically identical like I was mentioning before. One of my favorite filaments of all time is this fall gradient. I'm just going to call it the fall gradient because that's basically what it is. So really cool on that. And these little containers right here, I think they printed so good. I mean, this is how they came out. Now this is same gray TPU gaskets, but I printed this in the Loyal Moses Sparkle Green. And as you can see here, this turned out amazing. I'm going to show you what else turned out pretty amazing in this Loyal Moses Sparkle Green. Sorry, my hands are all jacked up. It's definitely springtime here on the farm, so they get overworked, if you would. And again, both these printed identical, and they both printed perfect. No stringing. I didn't post anything. Nothing got post processing. I even still have a little bit of a doodab here on my TPU gasket that I didn't cut off. Nothing got trimmed up or post. I wanted to show you raw, straight off the plate. No heat guns, no none of that stuff. It's just like that. Now, this one is not raw straight off the plate. This one did get heat gunned because he needed some work. But this is a Kaz Boba Fett, and this one is printed with the Loyal Moses green. I had to print some kind of Boba Fett related thing with that spool, so I definitely did that. Now the supports kind of did give me trouble. He had an antenna up here that broke off, and some of the stuff was very delicate putting on, like the gun right here on the side of the arm cannon. These little shin plates were very delicate when they were printing. I had to print a couple of those because I broke a couple of those, but everything printed really nice, and you can see this gradient sparkle with the green. It's kind of like you can kind of see the particulate in there, and it's just it's a very sparse pattern, but just enough to give you that little shine, that kind of gradient shine. It's not really a matte green, but it also has that metallic in there, which gives it that little shine, which is nice. You can see the eyes there. I mean, I think this turned out really nice, especially since it was like basically parts plate. I printed this on the FlashForge 85M. So yeah, love the FlashForge printers. I mean, I used Bamboo Lab A1s, minis, and FlashForge so far. And I'll show you what I printed on the P1S's next. So let's get into some of the more color shift or color reactive. Let's say that here. Let's put this Boba Fett over here at the top, because the Boba Fett's pretty cool. Make a little spot for him. All right, now the next thing we printed was the magenta. What did I come up with the magenta? Well, I did print this nice, it's like a synthwave 80s vibe type of decor. This is actually a model I came up with and I created, but yeah, you can see how this printed. And the magenta is the Polymaker UV reactive. So we're going to check it out, and you can see here that it is UV reactive. You can't see it. It looks white to you right now, but on my end, this is basically fluorescent pink right now when it gets hit with the UV. So for example, if you had like a black light in your room and you had this up on your wall, this would totally pop. You know what I mean? Totally pop. UV reactive, magenta, awesome. Now, another UV reactive thing that I printed, which you're going to not see, it's going to be neon pink for me, but for you it's going to look white, is going to be this knife. Now, I actually 3D printed the knife handle and the sheath. Now, I have a bunch of these Mora #2 blanks, which are just basically the blades. So as you can see here, we got a little bit of a tail action going on. So I didn't actually have the small blade that I guess this dictated or this warranted, and I didn't want to scale it up because it still didn't have a combination for the tail. I'm not really looking to mess with somebody else's model. But as you can see here, it does have a sheath. It does semi-function because it goes in the sheath and it has the handle. I didn't glue anything or anything like that. It just kind of fit like this, and I ran with it. This is the Watermelon Walrus, because I printed it with the pink magenta, and then this is the Polymaker Polyterra Castle Grayskull Green. Like I said, I brought that in to kind of simulate a nice little watermelon look. But yeah, long story short, I don't have the right blade blanks for the Mora knife. I just have these #2s. So I'm going to put this in its original sheath for now so nobody gets hurt over here. But yeah, pretty cool. The magenta printed out really nice for this sheath. And again, it was the insert for the middle of the knife, which I'm going to just take that apart later. And maybe try to find an appropriate one for the #2. But anyway, magenta, awesome, UV reactive. Check it out. We're going to get into some more UV reactive stuff here in a second. Now, went with my last EDC case with actually I should say my second to last EDC case that we're going to feature in this video is printed with the matte camouflage. Now, this is a mounting case which allows you to pop that off pretty easy, to have this basically mounted underneath your car, your truck, your vehicle, and you can put your keys, wallet, or something small in here that you might have in your pockets. Maybe you want to go on a run or something like that, and you want to kind of just stash something. Most of the time, people aren't going to be looking at something like this. And I did do it in that camouflage, so you can see it's like brown on this side, and the color changed to green, which is really awesome. And same thing goes to the inside, same gradient change in there as well. And yeah, this is, I mean, I don't know if I'd necessarily hide this outside. You know what I mean? Someone would probably look at this and see that there's like a cache there. But if you have this hidden underneath your car or somewhere tucked underneath your vehicle, I don't think you'd have too much issue with discretion. It snaps together really nice. So it's got a nice seal in here. It's not watertight, but I think it'll work as a nice EDC box. And most of the time, like I said, the things you're going to be putting in this are going to be like you going for a run or for a walk and you don't want to carry your stuff. You could put everything in here and go do that thing and then come back and your stuff's waiting for you in this nice little EDC box. So pretty cool on that. And that was, again, printed with the camouflage, the matte. Now we're going to get into the cool, juicy stuff, if you would. The next thing that I printed is this EDC tray from Nomia. And this has the sparkle green from the Loyal Moses, and then this camouflage, we got a little flurry right there, a little camouflage brim for the tray, which is this back part as well. This is the insert. Now, I printed this with the UV filament, so we're going to see the matte pattern when I hit it with the UV light, which is going to be really cool. But I'm going to hit the UV light in a second. We're going to go to that in just a second. We're going to show you one more box, and then I'll show you my final print. This is a nice little EDC cache box. You can put this in your car, your truck, and of course, I had to make it cool, and I printed the inside with the UV filament, and we're going to check what that looks like. It's going to basically be a brown and orange and a green and orange. It's going to look like the University of Miami colors here in a second when I hit it with the flashlight. So we're going to check that out. This is, again, a huge UV box. I didn't do any post-curing on it. You can see I probably could hit this with the heat gun and get some of those wispies off. But I wanted to kind of, most of the stuff here I wanted raw except for the Boba Fett. Because, again, that was, like, all spread out across, like, multiple build plates with supports. This stuff pretty much printed out without supports. So, yeah, should be good right out the build plate, right? So we'll check this out with the flashlight right now. Now, first up, let's check out the tray. So what I'm going to do is I'll kind of go through and we'll kind of charge this up. What I'm using is just a Arcfeld Pro from Olight. And you can already see it turning orange. The trails are turning brown. Isn't that cool for the topographical? And I'd say this is probably the most effective light that I have out of all my UV lights. Yeah, you can see the trails all turning brown now, which is so cool, right? So if you had this outside, it was white originally. You can see them all brown now. If it was outside, it would be doing this from the sun. Pretty cool, huh? I mean, that is revolutionary right there when it comes to filament. I mean, I'm doing this with a small flashlight. I just did one pass over. And this actually holds the color change, which I'm going to illustrate here in a second, really well. I just want to make sure I got the whole plate charged up. But you can see all the orange lines for the topographical, which was once white, which is pretty cool. I don't think I missed any areas, so I can't really show you what they look like originally, but yeah, really freaking cool. Now here's the box. So if you had the box, look at that. It's almost like I'm burning it. If you had the box outside, this would just instantly turn, but I'm almost like painting it with the flashlight, which is so freaking cool. And as you can see, this is turning into that beautiful orange color that is hidden. Now, what I was thinking would be cool, I kind of illustrated it here with this map, would be to, like, I know you can 3D print paper and you can 3D print really thin, like, shooting targets. Like, look at that. How freaking cool is that? It's orange now, green on top, orange. Like, you're outside. This turns orange, like, uniformly from the sun. Not like, I mean, it actually is pretty uniform with me doing the passes on the flashlight, but this even got some spillover over here. You can see. I want to do the sides here so you can kind of see what those look like, because this would be all hit with the sun as well if you had this outside, or you had this in a blacklight room or something like that. It would be like fully charged. Like, look at that, like orange and green. Let's check out, that's white now. Let's make this orange as well. Do a couple passes on each row, and now we got brown and orange. I mean, really freaking cool. We'll do the inside of the box here so you can get a little bit more illustration. I'll show you the last thing that I printed with this. Look at those marks over there. It literally looks like it's burnt. That's so cool. So I'm excited to see what other colors are going to be offered for this UV color shift. Oop, we got magnetized to my camera, the back part there. But so far, this is a really good combination, the white with the orange. But making a secret message on some 3D printed, like, paper, like printing an actual message, and you have to, like, hit it with UV light to kind of read it. Like, how freaking cool would that be? Look at that. Like, that's awesome. Again, it would be more uniform. Like, this would all be done if it was out in the sun. Not done by heat, but done by the UV. So really freaking cool. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, how far 3D printing filament has come is pretty awesome. Now here's the last thing that I printed. EDC for me because I love to play golf, but I actually, and I haven't used this yet, but I actually 3D printed a Scotty Cameron putter head. I got hit with some overspray over here when I was hitting it with the light, but you can see that it's white, and we're going to turn it orange just like we did these. So it got hit with some overspray. This is scaled perfectly to hit standard size balls with a standard size shaft. So I'm going to be using this, and I keep hitting my camera with the magnet. But look at that. Like, so you're outside and you go to putt, you're on the green, and it just glows up orange. Like, how freaking cool is that? That's freaking awesome. Look at that face right there with that infill. Ready to just smack some balls. I mean, Scotty Cameron putter head, like, done. That's freaking cool. Yeah, that's awesome. And again, it was just white, you know what I mean? And it holds the color really long when it gets exposed to that UV. Like, you can still see the lines on the tray are still orange. And I did that, like, I don't know, a couple minutes ago. But really freaking cool. Like I said, probably the most fun I had was with this UV. Trying to design, you know, what would be the best model to go with this particular filament to make it cool. Something like this was able to illustrate that secret message I was kind of talking about, which would be very cool to make. Hit it with UV light type of thing. That would be kind of neat to do that with a 3D printer. So maybe I'll do that in another video. We'll see what I could do with that. But stuff like this, EDC stuff, functional prints for everyday life. Yeah, very, very freaking cool. All right, why don't you let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the models that I use? What do you think of the filaments that Polymaker sent over for us to try out? What do you think of the whole UV secret message thing that I was talking about? What do you think of the UV filament in general? I don't really see many videos dedicated to UV filaments and their properties, and hopefully this is one that has some impact to you. So yeah, thank you, Polymaker, for sending over all this filament. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, which models should I print next with some of this filament? What did I miss out on? Just let me know down in the comments. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Want more content like this, subscribe for more, and have a great rest of your day.